Thank you for tuning in to the very first episode of the Sultan of Slow Drip podcast.
Love that name.
Thank you. I am your host, the Sultan of Slow Drip, also known as Justin Doggett, the owner and founder of Kyoto Black, which is a small coffee company. It's actually a one-man operation. My wife helps me out a lot, but it's a one-man operation located in Chicago, and we focus on slow drip cold brew coffee made using the Kyoto style method, which is what you see right here depicted. Basically, you hold the coffee inside of a chamber right here in the middle, and then you slowly drip cold water, just one drop at a time, through the coffee grounds. It is a very meticulous method, but it also produces an exquisite coffee, which we are enjoying right now.
The smoothest. Cheers, buddy.
Yeah, cheers. Co-host here is Victor Chan,
Hey, guys.
also known as I Am Consciously Curious.
Yeah, just living in the podcast world.
Exactly.
Happy to be here.
So yeah, Victor's great at podcasting. He's my tech guy, my go-to video guy, and helped me out with starting off this podcast, which I should have done a long time ago, but you know how it goes, folks. So I want to give you a little kind of rundown on what we're going to be doing here. Starting off, the podcast will be dropping every Tuesday on YouTube and as the video version, and then also we're going to have an audio version. The description will contain where that's going to be released.
Most likely Apple and Spotify, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Victor knows what he's talking about, so trust him when it comes to that. But we will give you the bona fides in the description, so make sure you check that out after you've watched this episode. And while you're down there, make sure to leave a comment. That is how we know that we're hitting a chord with you, and also you can kind of let us know what you want to hear about. This is a give and take relationship, so you give us your comments, we'll take that and really act upon them. I also want to ask you to just go ahead and like this episode if you do, and subscribe, turn on those notifications if you want to receive this when it drops. So just going into a little bit of detail, this is the premiere episode of the podcast. I want to talk about why we're doing this and what it's all about. So I started Kyoto Black as a cold brew delivery service. Actually, here's an example of the product here. So basically, I use the Kyoto method to brew coffee, package it, and then I ship it out to you lovely people who've been supporting me for the last 5 years, subscribing to my coffee every month. Getting
all over the world too.
Yeah, I have customers in Switzerland. It's so weird to get an order from Switzerland.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So sometimes I get like messages in foreign languages, and I'm like, is someone trying to like get my credit card or social security number or something like that? So yeah, over the past 5 years, the coffee company's really blown up, and with the past year, because of the lockdowns, people have really gravitated towards it quite a bit. There was a period where I was the only game in town. All the cafes were closed.
Okay.
Yeah. When the lockdowns first hit, just about every cafe in walking distance to here for sure was closed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was the only place where people could get coffee, and I would mail that to them.
Side tangent. I'm interested. When things open back up, how much of that will remain straight to consumer, direct to consumer, as opposed to the people that want to go back to the cafes?
So you mean like going forward in the future?
Yeah.
So that's a good question. I feel like there's going to be kind of a break off. So there are people who have like a new routine now. Like their old routine was broken.
Yeah.
And now their new routine is getting more stuff sent to them that was not sent to them before.
Okay.
So like, for example, with Kyoto Black, I ended up I'm up to like 300 monthly subscribers now. And you know, when the pandemic hit, I was like at 60. So it went boom, 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 boom. It went crazy. Yeah. And of those people, I would say I kept about like 90 to 92% of those people.
Wow.
Yeah.
You got good product.
Yeah. I mean, thank you. I said like, yeah, I do. But yeah, no. So these results are not necessarily typical, but it could potentially be a lot of people switching over to these products if you can find people who are best in class in their product and then in their kind of customer service, and because that's a huge part of it actually. I think I suck at customer service, and that's probably why people are happy with my customer service, because I'm always like, I freak out over stuff like if I can't get a shipment out the same day that it comes in, I'm like actually kind of upset.
Interesting.
You know, so there's stuff like that. So it really will depend on what the landscape looks like. You know, how many people are going to go to like Amazon or Walmart.com. You know, that could potentially,
Yeah.
you know, take a lot of business away. But it's kind of interesting. What do you think about it?
I miss cafes.
Yeah.
Personally, I miss just hanging out and reading in a shop. Kind of just giving a reason to get out of the house,
Okay.
essentially, and enjoying.
Is that like
Coffee.
your study spot? Like,
It could be, or it could be a meetup spot. I know right now we're
Okay.
just kind of like, can we meet up at your place? Or meet you know, it's just like it's just another place to go to, and mingle and things like that.
Okay.
But, I don't know. I'm open eyes and open ears to it.
yeah. I mean, I just have a feeling a lot of people, you know, because comfort levels are just so different.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like, there are people who are kind of like outgoing, but then this, you know, pandemic just totally like ruined their comfort level of being around other people. So, you know, how many people are going to be eager to go out and, you know, all kinds of stuff. So it's hard to know exactly. But I do know that pretty much everyone will be wanting to drink coffee at home at some point.
True.
So,
True.
you know, that's always going to be a good place to be as like,
Yeah,
you
and
know.
if you find yourself, you know, stuck in a routine of brewing the same coffee over and over again, like this is a good way to kind
Yeah.
of break out of that.
yeah. Because pretty much what I want to do is make people's mornings like really easy. Because this is, you know, it's a coffee concentrate, so you can drink it hot, you can drink it cold.
Yeah.
So, you know, I tell people like if you want to have like a no fuss morning routine, I say put your coffee pre-measured into your morning cup the night before, wake up, start boiling your water
Yeah.
while you're getting ready, and then just add the hot water and just leave
It's
out.
a game changer.
Yeah.
That concentrate.
It really changes the flow. You don't have to clean anything up. So I feel like, you know,
Whereas, I don't know, me, like someone who is a routine person or
Right.
a habitual person, the act of manually grinding beans with a burr grinder.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's part of the process.
I
and-
saw the video you did too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
Yeah, the hand grinder and everything.
Yeah. Shout out to Peter McKinnon who inspired me to do that. But it was just, that was an excuse to just make a video.
Okay.
But I do thoroughly enjoy the process of making coffee, not just
Yeah.
drinking it either. But I'm sure the majority of your consumers consume rather than just it's laborious, I admit. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sitting there like manually
Right,
grinding.
right.
But it was for a while part of my routine. I actually cut coffee out of my
Oh yeah. Get out of here.
I know,
Yeah, no, so, you know, I can say personally, you know, everybody's got their own kind of feeling about this, but I can say personally, having this product at home is like, for me, it's a game changer.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, I think when I have more time, I do like to kind of focus in on just honing my own craft and just like making a cup of coffee for myself, like with that being a part of the ritual as well, the making it and the
Right.
grinding it and the,
Exactly.
you know, all
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
because there's nothing like just grinding coffee and just like
That's
really getting in
good.
there. Yeah, so there's definitely something to be said for that. Funny enough, I was thinking that's like my weekend routine, but because my shop is open on the weekends, like Tuesday, Wednesday is actually my weekend.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's like my industry weekend. That's the industry
Right,
weekend,
right.
Tuesday,
Right,
Wednesday.
right.
So yeah. But in any case, though, to kind of go over what some of our topics are going to be, we're going to, you know, talk about what I'm doing, obviously, with the company, events coming up. Actually, some cool stuff's coming up. CoffeeCon Chicago, which is going to be a digital event.
CiderCon or CoffeeCon?
CoffeeCon.
CoffeeCon.
Yeah,
Oh,
CoffeeCon.
you got to send me that too.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, we got CoffeeCon, and I'm also going to be a guest speaker at CiderCon, which is
Yeah.
another digital event. Victor helped me shoot the video for that, so we just finished that up, and it's really awesome. So yeah, a lot of cons happening, digital conventions, keeping it safe, and spreading the gospel of the bean. So I'll be letting you guys know about that, and also I've been playing around with doing limited edition coffee releases, and I think I want to drop that here first before I kind of let anyone else know.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
that's another reason to tune in. But the limited editions feature coffees that are like just different processing. So not to go too deep into the rabbit hole, but they're just different ways you can process coffee from the fruit to turn it into an actual dried coffee bean that will then be roasted. And the way you approach that will change the characteristics of the coffee. It can make it more fruity. It can make it more savory in some cases. Actually, so funny story. There are some people who were experimenting with using like sake yeast to ferment the coffee.
Wow.
And it turns it into like, it actually tastes like soy sauce, people said. like the final coffee product.
But palatable still, like
No.
because I wouldn't drink soy sauce. Oh, okay.
No,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
They were like, it has like this
Interesting.
like umami. I guess it's palatable. I mean, if you like mushroomy kind of like umami rich liquid.
Okay.
But then I was like, man, what if someone just like made a consomme with that and was like, oh, that was great. Was that like mushroom or something? I was like, no, that was coffee.
Yeah. Okay.
So, because it's like if you tell someone like, here's a cup of coffee, and you're like, oh, this tastes like mushrooms. That's disgusting.
Right.
But if you're like, okay, here's some
That's a
consommé.
Michelin star.
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. You're sitting down at your Noma or whatever, and they're like, yeah, here's a consomme, wink, wink. And you're like, oh, this is great. What is it, mushroom? You're like, no, it's just coffee, man. That's it.
That's interesting.
That's pretty dope. So I could see some cool stuff with that. Won't be doing mushroom tasting coffees. Mostly what I like to focus on is the natural process coffees because I had a natural process Ethiopian coffee back in 2011 that really, it got me like in stalker mode for this one roaster who had put that out where I was just like, I'm going to seek you out. I'm going to be your friend and find out how you got this coffee and what's this all about. But natural process coffees are basically produced where the cherry is turned into a raisin before the seed is extracted from it. So during that time where it's raisining, it's getting like extra amino acids and just like this crazy sweetness, and it's just like fruit bomby. And I'd never had a coffee like that. I didn't even know coffee could taste like that.
Okay.
So when I had it, that was like a switch up another level
Wow.
of coffee interest.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if I would be doing this right now if that experience didn't happen, because that just put me on a completely different trajectory with coffee. And the Kyoto style method, because it allows you to really get like a concentrate that also has like this really clear expression. Like
Yeah.
if you can take a look at this, like I don't know if you guys can see this, but
Translucent.
yeah, it's so crystal clear that the flavor actually comes through as crystal clear as well.
Right. There's no bite to it.
There's no bite. There's no like heat to it, even though it's kind of like thick and almost
It does like coat the tongue.
it coats the tongue,
Yeah.
but it's not like overpowering. It's not bitter. It's not dry. So that was like one of the things that made me really like just gravitate towards Kyoto style coffee, because I realized something, and this actually ties into the question of the day.
Okay, cool.
I noticed that Kyoto style coffee reminded me the most of espresso.
Okay.
So I started to look at it from the perspective of this being kind of cold espresso.
Interesting.
It has a very similar drinking experience. And so the question of the day is, how do you feel about straight espresso?
Straight. I haven't had too good of an experience
Okay.
with espresso. I've only probably had it a handful of times, to be honest. And first time was at Chicago Intelligentsia, and I was in a hurry with our buddy Jake, and we bombed it. We just like slammed this espresso,
Yeah.
and
Shots.
it left a bad first impression. I was like, "Who drinks? Why
Did
would
you go
Why
like-
would any exactly?
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
why
yeah.
would anyone drink this?" And we had it in to-go containers, so it was just like
Yeah, just pound and go, yeah.
and then the next time I had espresso, we were in Italy, and they didn't have traditional coffee. They had Americanos, which was
Right.
like the next
Espresso
like
and
good
hot water.
subs. Yeah, exactly. Or espresso, and Jake really wanted his nightly ritual after dinner to have some type of caffeine, and we just went with espresso. And
Okay.
I still, no one really kind of taught me how to put it down, how to enjoy it, how
Okay.
to thoroughly tease out the subtleties and things like that. And,
Gotcha.
And I guess it's something that you can take your time with, and you
Yeah.
can really, really enjoy it if you learn how to.
Yeah, it definitely
So
is.
I'm definitely open-minded to giving it another shot.
So what if I told you, in all seriousness, that a properly pulled espresso shot tastes like a warm version of this?
I would be very keen on trying that again. Definitely.
Yeah, so espresso, it kind of gets misunderstood because people have so many bad experiences with it, because quite frankly, I think espresso is the purest expression of coffee. There's really nowhere to hide. It requires really good technique, really good coffee, really good equipment, just honestly, really good weather, because any baristas out there listening to this will let you know that when you're dialing in that espresso before you open your shop, and you're just like setting like the grind fineness and the timing and everything, you set it and it's great and it's tasting good, and you've had like your 20th shot and it's finally tasting good. And then as soon as the door starts opening with customers coming in, the humidity and the temperature changes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
It totally throws off everything. and then you got to recalibrate. So you got to dial in, and then you got to redial in.
Wow.
Like, every barista like has like that you get. That's why you don't get too hung up over the first dial in. You just get in the ballpark.
That is so nuanced. I thought this was nuanced with dialing the drip rate as the weight of the water was decreasing, but that's like on another level.
Yeah, there's the dial in and there's the redial in because the humidity, the temperature, just like with the burrs, everything, like it changes. And it's just like one of those things where you have to be super focused and dedicated to get it right, which, people come in, they ask me, do you have espresso? I'm like, no, I have Kyoto style coffee. That's it. That's all I offer. No cream, no sugar, nothing else but Kyoto style coffee, because that's all I want to focus on. I know that to do anything else, because here's the thing, I'm the best at this. Like when it comes to Kyoto style coffee, like I put in enough time to be really, really high level at it. So why would I do something else where I'm not also going to be high level at that? And one takes from the other as far as like time goes. So I know what it takes to do really good espresso. I'm actually really, really good at doing it myself. That's why I choose not to do it, because then it
would take away from other things.
I know that I have to take it very seriously and dedicate the same amount of focus and time to it.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to do it.
Scaling's another episode for sure.
Exactly. And also just offering this, I know that someone who's drinking it in, Vermont or Costa Rica or whatever they order it from, they're going to get the same experience that I'm getting when I drink it, because it's, it's a very you bottle it and send it to them, and they open it, and it's just like a beer, you get the same experience basically, more or less, I would say. Where you can't do that with espresso. It just has a shelf life, and it's like you can't really share. Like we could do a group tasting with everyone who loves my coffee all together, like live, and have the same experience. You couldn't do that with an espresso. So that's another actual reason why I decided to do it this way.
It's consistent.
Exactly. So it was a way to get that espresso kind of experience to everyone that I could, at least the most people that I could.
Right.
So, but espresso, it's very misunderstood just because the amount of time and technique and like the alignment of the stars that has to happen with it is so haphazard in a way.
Sure.
It's organized chaos. And it's also a very concentrated product, so any of the mistakes that happen will be really just dialed up. It coats your tongue, so something tastes bad, that's one thing. But if it tastes bad and it coats your tongue, that's a whole different problem you got, right? But on the other hand...
that would be really bad.
Yeah, exactly. On the other hand, though, espresso really should be kind of lively and expressive in a way, and you shouldn't necessarily taste it so much on your tongue as you do down your throat.
Oh.
Yeah, it should really just kind of like glide and dance down your throat, basically, is the way I kind of look at it. Okay. Yeah. So, and a part of the reason why you don't get that experience so much is because I feel like there was this trend of doing like the Ristretto shots, and the Ristretto shots focus on making the shot just thicker and stronger. Okay. Without focusing on just kind of the after flavors. And you do a Ristretto by just cutting the shot short, you just do less time. But then there's also a risk of under extracting it, so you end up not getting full flavor development.
Yeah.
And you could also go too far the other way where you over extract it and you run too much water, and it's like that's a long shot.
But you said more caffeine in a Ristretto?
Less caffeine.
Less caffeine. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, the caffeine content is going to be a product of the contact time with water.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so like for example, espresso actually has less caffeine than a drip cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Because
the misconception.
Yeah, exactly. The espresso is brewed for about 25-30 seconds, whereas the drip cup is brewed for 3+ minutes. So just that extra contact time will give you more caffeine extraction. It's more complicated than that, but as a general gist,
that makes sense.
Yeah, the caffeine content is going to be much less. This stuff is in contact with the water for like hours.
Yeah.
Up to 16 hours.
Is there a point where it could be too much?
Well, so...
What if you do it at the very slowest rate,
I mean, yeah, there's definitely a such thing as too much. And basically when that happens, when it's too slow, it's very dry, dusty. You've gotten too much because the stuff that makes coffee bitter extracts towards the tail end of the brew cycle.
Okay.
So if you let it go too long, you really start pulling out those... bitter alkaloids.
Okay.
And the messed up thing about bitter alkaloids is they, like, per molecule influence your tongue way more than every other taste component.
Oh.
So, like, for example, in coffee, you have sugars, acids, alkaloids, lipids.
Yeah.
You know, the sugars are what make it taste sweet. The acids are what make it taste lively. And the alkaloids are what gives it bitterness. And also the caffeine is an alkaloid as well.
Okay.
So just to give you kind of an idea of how powerful alkaloids are as a taste component, imagine taking a tablespoon full of sugar or a tablespoonful of honey and just putting that straight into your mouth, right? So that's sugar. You could do that. Like, you probably wouldn't really enjoy it so much. Like, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But you could do that, swallow it. And let's say if you had to do that for like $100, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, do this and don't make a face, right? Just do it and don't make a face.
I've done the cinnamon challenge.
The cinnamon challenge is just a whole nother level. That's really bad.
Coughing up a lung after that one.
I actually did something real dirty to my brother with the cinnamon challenge.
What'd you do?
Well, I challenged him to the cinnamon challenge, which is, can you take a teaspoonful of cinnamon and eat it? And I told him I'd give him $20, and he couldn't do it, obviously. And I was like, all right, I'll tell you what, I'll give you $40 if you can eat 6 saltines in a minute, back to back, just to be a jerk. But and obviously he failed that too, because his mouth was already dried out from the cinnamon. So
that's awful.
It was really funny though. But in any case, though, so that kind of gives you a baseline idea of your perception for sweetness. Okay. You know, a tablespoonful of sugar, pure sugar in your mouth, you wouldn't do it on a daily basis. You wouldn't voluntarily do it. But if you had to, you could do it with a straight face.
Okay.
But now imagine, you ever have the powdered up aspirin before?
Or I've never let it melt in my mouth.
So there's an aspirin that's not in a pill form. It's in a powder.
Oh, no.
It's god awful.
Yeah.
But you've put an aspirin tablet in your mouth and kind of tasted like it's starting
better,
to melt, right?
Yeah.
So imagine you had to now take a tablespoonful of ground up aspirin and then put that in your mouth.
Yeah, that's awful.
Exactly. Aspirin's an alkaloid. That's why.
Okay.
Yeah. Alkaloids taste terrible. And think about how much sugar you would need to add to a tablespoon of aspirin. Like, let's say if you were mixing it into a gallon of water, how much sugar you would need to add to that gallon of water to balance it out.
Interesting.
It'd be a lot of sugar.
Okay.
Right? So the human tongue is very perceptive at tasting alkaloids than like the sugars and the acids.
Do you know if the majority of your consumers enjoy this black then? Enjoy your product black?
A lot of people enjoy black because I managed to hit that sweet spot where it has very little alkaloid in it.
Okay.
I think, and this is part of like the kind of education, but a lot of people's knee-jerk way of approaching coffee is to just automatically add something to it without even tasting it.
Yeah.
So that is actually something I've tried to guide my customers on. I told them, like, hey, before you add anything to this, taste it first, and then you'll see from there. Yeah. And, like I said, in my cafe, I don't offer anything to add to the coffee. So, which it kind of throws some people off, but funny enough, they come back and they're like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Or they'll be like, I took it home.
And that alone, that experience of understanding something,
mm-hmm.
I don't know, it makes you feel like part of something. It's like, I'm elevated now. And
yeah. I'm not just being a jerk. Like, because I think some people might think, oh, he's just being like pretentious or he's being a jerk. And it's like, no, trust me.
Yeah.
And, I had one customer who kind of like, she would complain a little bit and she'd be like, you really should offer milk. But, she'd be nice, but she'd be like, you really should offer milk for people who want it. And I'm like, no. Nicely. I'm like, very nice, but I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
And then, one day she was like, all right, I just want to let you know that I took some coffee home and I added milk to it and it was like worse. And I was like, why was it worse? She's like, well, because I got used to the way it tasted black. And I was like, yeah.
Okay.
So she got it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, now you get it.
Cool.
And she's like, yeah, I get it now. So, yeah. So, the coffee game has a lot of kind of nuances to it and a lot of things that I want to really help educate you all about. So make sure that you are leaving me the comments, like I said before, so I can really address, because for me, this is inside baseball. Like, I don't know what you guys don't know because I know so much about it. I've been doing this for over a decade now. So
I'm with you guys. I don't know anything. So
yeah,
here for the ride.
Right? Yeah. So Victor's going to be my John Everyman, right? He'll maybe read the questions or something to me. But make sure you leave those comments below. And thanks for tuning in. We will catch you on the other side.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. See you next time.
Yep.